Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We will get started. A warm and pleasant welcome to the Emirates NBD Global Business Series, an initiative by Intelligent SME. This initiative is created to inspire entrepreneurs and give them profound insights and guidance. These business icons are carefully chosen, and the sessions are one of its kind, where we really get up close and personal with the business leaders of the UAE. We are hosting SME World Summit in March 2014, which will be one of the largest SME events of the region, and you can visit smeworld.ae for more information. This renowned success of Intelligent SME would not be possible without the continued support of our sponsors, partners, and well-wishers. A special note of gratitude to our strategic alliance partners, Dubai SME, and our title sponsor, Emirates NBD, Emirates NBD Business Banking. We would like to thank our gold sponsor, Porsche 4S Executive from the Porsche Center Dubai, Al Nabuda Mobiles. The car that you saw on display out front is the Panamera 4S Executive. Its high levels of style and breathtaking performance resounds the Porsche philosophy of intelligent performance, which is befitting of this evening. The Panamera can be yours, and you can avail special privileges on it as well. You can contact the Porsche ambassador, Mr. Matt Anschos, for more information. Also, a warm welcome to SAP Middle East and North Africa, our sponsors and technology partners who are now creating products focusing on empowering and enabling SMEs. We'd like to thank our well-being partner, VLCC, Al Nabuda Insurance Brokers, Petrochem Middle East, AIG SME Insurance Solutions, and our media partners, Khalij Times, Star Plus, and Life OK. Last but not least, we'd like to welcome Bryce Group on board as our partners. The Bryce Group, a New Delhi-based realty giant, is now launching the tallest and 7-star luxury residential tower called the Bryce Buzz. It is iconic, and it's going to be the Burj Khalifa of northern India. And that means a great investment opportunity. Starting at 11,000 rupees per square foot, this property will attract a lot of global investors. If you're looking for more information, then please contact the fine ladies at the front desk for more information, and the marketing team will soon get back to you. I would like to invite Mr. Jashanmal to stage to felicitate him for the evening. Mr. Jashanmal, if you could please join me over here, please. And could I also please request Mr. Vikas Thakur, Head of Business Banking for Emirates NBD, if you could please come up to help facilitate Mr. Thakur. And the organizer and the brain behind this whole initiative, Jashanmal AP, if I could ask you to please come up. And lastly, but not least, Tariq Qureshi is the CEO of Vantage, and he is the moderator for the evening. Please join me in welcoming him so he can start off this up close and personal stuff.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends, some familiar faces, some new ones. It really is, and I know we always say this, but every time we feel it from inside. It is genuinely a privilege to have so many of you here, and also to have an amazing business icon like Tony, an amazing gentleman. We'll talk about him today. I'd also like to acknowledge Mr. Jashanmal, who's here, also in the audience. And Tony's son, Naren, who is also here. This whole series has been going on for the last 6, 7, 8 months. And we've had a wonderful array of people who have come here from the oil sector, from the automobile sector, from FMCG, different nationalities, different backgrounds. It's quite interesting that they are all so different. But when you really, really peel the onion, when you really go inside, there are so many similarities in terms of their successes, in terms of why they are succeeding, in terms of why a family can last 4 generations and go and still get stronger and stronger. And some of those themes, some of those success principles are the ones that we are going to probe and talk about today in an environment of openness and warm-heartedness. And my only request to Tony was, when I met him a few days ago, was essentially just to open his heart and be honest and be authentic with all of you. And I'm sure he will. It is quite a story. 1919, just imagine, almost 94 years ago, a gentleman, Jashanmal, Tony's grandfather, went to Basra, Iraq, and basically set this thing up. As you can see from this little montage, and we'll go into it in a little bit more detail, we show you the intergenerational transfers and the transitions that have taken place. We will show you the secret sauce, the success principles that they have applied in their lives, and how they apply to today. And to all of the people who are here from the SME sector, from business professionals and so on. And there are stories of inspiration and stories of learning. And that's what we are going to share today. 94 years, great milestone. 6 years from now, 2019, I'm sure they will be celebrating their 100 years even stronger than they are today. Just thought I'd give you a little bit of historical context, because it's quite important that we actually understand the kind of, almost a dynasty that Jashanmal Group has become. 1919 established the first store in Basra, Iraq. 1934, Kuwait, the first store was established there. 1935, in Bahrain. 38 in Bahrain. And then in 1954, they traveled to Dubai and then set up in 1956 in Dubai. And then there's a whole series of activities which shows how professional this organization is. It's a family company, but truly professional. And that has been one of the secrets of their success, and we will talk about that today. This is 1910s. This is Basra, Iraq, and this is exactly where the first shop was. So it's really, you go back almost 100 years. These are the rulers at that time in Kuwait, and they visited India, and really it's part of the relationships that were being developed with the ruling families around the region, and how they were serving the community is one of the stories that resonate throughout today. Here we go, first shop in Bahrain in the 1940s. A lovely image from that point in time. So I thought, I'm a sucker for these kind of nostalgic photographs. I hope you're enjoying it too. This is Dubai, 1955. I mean, people, you just look at, this is actually in Al Nasser Square. You know, the center, the garden of Al Nasser Square, the green. This is where this was in 1955. This is the entire family, first, second, and third generation. The only person missing in that photograph, probably because he wasn't even born, wasn't right? He probably wasn't born at that time. It's amazing just to have that context. Tony, your dear parents, and how your father has affected and influenced your life, and we'll talk about that today. Which one are you, by the way? This is Tony arriving in Dubai in 1955. Are you the one in the bracelet?
I'm the one with the sports center with the tennis racket.
Oh, the tennis racket. Okay. Well, that's Tony, the tennis racket on the extreme left. We just like we were wondering, no, are you there? Are you there? You should be. No?
No, sir.
Oh, you were in another
one is there exact right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's the right.
You look young.
I had to get it that time.
Yeah.
Now we don't know.
Now we don't care. Yes. is the rest of the family, the brothers in the next generation. And that's today, Tony and his son, right? The intergenerational transitions that are taking place. It's amazing we'll go through that. This is a very important chart because it doesn't sort of come out completely in a conversation one-on-one, but you'll see this chart because you're very used to it. Here's a family company that is structured like a global corporation. And that has been one of the secrets of their success, and we talk about that. And that is our final slide about values. As I was talking about things that are constant between families and successful businesses and so on, is about values. There was a very famous book that was written, it was called Built to Last. It was written in the 1990s by two professors from Stanford, Boris and Collins. And they said the difference between good companies and great companies is only one fundamental difference, and that is their core values and how closely they follow their core values. And I dare say the success that the Jashanmal group has had, one of the things must be their core values. This is what they look like today. You saw the old shops, these are the new shops. And these are some of the brands that they represent. So ladies and gentlemen, before you get bored of me, and the real person who is here is Tony, and we'd like to spend today to celebrate his life and to commemorate all of his achievements. Tony Jashanmal. I hope you were touched with some of those things, some of those old photographs.
Yeah, those reminders. Fortunately, you didn't have my handkerchief with me.
I totally understand that these moments are very, very special in your family.
Well, thank you for reminding us of that. It's nice to see things now which we actually practice.
Absolutely. Now, to really get this thing moving, one of the key questions that I would want to know in your early days of your life is what was that moment, that defining moment in your life which impacted you, or a person, it doesn't have to be an event. Who impacted you the most in the early stages of your life?
Well, in the early stages, I think the person who impacted most was my grandfather, once father. At the age, well, I was born in Kuwait, and the first 5 years I lived in Kuwait, but Kuwait, like the rest of the country at that time, did not have any English language schools. So we were sent to India. I lived in Bombay with my maternal side of the family. But my grandfather, who retired in 1948 at the age of 50, he had retired to India with the basic idea of doing social service. He had his two eldest sons already in the business. He left the business with them, trusted them that they would run the business well, and also wanted that they would produce enough money for him to carry on his social work. Anyway, so when I was in India, in school in Bombay, my grandfather started his whole thing out in the countryside, about 3.5 hours away in the train. And he had an winter house there, and his wife had died from many years before. So he basically lived alone in his big home doing his service. And it was an obligation for me, I had to do it, that once every month for one weekend, I had to go take the train 3.5 hours and spend the weekend with him. And he used to take a lot of time with anybody who came to visit him from the family to actually give them his thoughts, his ideas, his principles, his values. And he was pretty tough with that. He was a very tough person. And he had very strong values. And I think that is one of the things which is necessary, as you were saying earlier. You have to have some things which we actually go through all the time.
No, it was amazing for me that I've known you and your family for many years, but I really understood the group 2-3 days ago when we actually had dinner together. I was privileged to do that. And you spoke about community and serving the community as an underlying value in your organization and as human beings. Could you tell us a little bit more about that and share with us how you build it?
Well, this was the main thing, this is the main concept that my grandfather had, which seems to have established itself with all of us, is that everybody is part of the community. The job that you do, the work that you have, is your working role in the community. Everybody has a job. You make a community. The community is constituted of different people doing their different rituals. You've got the doctor, you've got the priest, you've got the teacher. He put it across that, look, our work is praise. We bring and offer the goods and services that the people in the community need. Now, everybody who brings things to the community, his work in the community, if he does that properly, fairly, then he's playing his role in the community. Properly, fairly means you bring the right goods, you actually grow. You have to grow, because if you grow, then you can offer better services. You can do your job better. Fairly is you have to never take, don't take opportunity and do not take too much from people. You offer them the right value for the products that you serve. You do not take advantage of the situation. If it's suddenly very cold and you have some heaters and your competitors don't have it, you just don't put up the prices. You have a system of working that out, and this is how. So you act fairly in your business dealings. So if everybody does their work that way, then the community gains. And what does that mean? Then you eventually gain yourself. Everybody gains from it. So your job, your work is to be seen this way. Apart from this, you've got some free time. When you're not looking after your family, etc., you've got free time. There are other things that the community also needs, which are joint services. And you've got to take time and effort, not only giving money, to other joint services which are there. And his advice used to be, you work towards helping the community in developing their health, body, and their mind. And so just make sure our needs to encourage us to get involved in sports and to get involved in education. And therefore, all of us in all our families, we've been from the start in each of these families, we've been involved very much in sports, but also very heavily in education.
Tony, people might sometimes say that your grandfather and your father did all the hard work and you were very privileged to be born in an environment where you had education and stuff. Have you really encountered genuine hardship in the early ages of the stages of your life? Can you share with us any of your hardships or failures and how they define you?
Well, my personal story is not a bad story, that's for sure.
No?
I unfortunately did not have to go through the ranks at the start. But we were always reminded, and again, coming back to the thing with my grandfather, he used to say, do you know why do you live in a good house? Why do you travel in a nice car? Why do you have all these things? And the normal answer that you would probably give is, yeah, because grandfather, you worked a lot, my father worked a lot, my uncles have worked a lot. And then his normal reply to that would be, no, we did not work, we organized. There's a lot of other people who do the work. They do the work, including that person who works in the house, the person who sometimes walks you to school. These are all people who work. The result of that will mean that you might be in the future in a good position to have a good life, to have a prominent business, or an important position in society. So, a lot of other people have worked. that you have to pay back. You have to work for the people who do it. So what he said is that you don't take your service in life has to be given. You are blessed and lucky to be where you are, but you have to. Now, just immediately, you don't have to start from a tough life.
No,
you can have it. I just want to say, I was in Kuwait with my family and the Iraqis invaded. I saw in 2 days 70 years of work just destroyed and washed and taken and destroyed, really destroyed. I saw 70 years of work destroyed in 2 days. Okay. That's the physical part of it. Of course, we worked with the invasion. We had a lot of social work to do, evacuation of the people, etc., where I was quite involved. And I see a friend of ours, Mr. Jashanmal, in the crowd, who was very great help because he was in Baghdad at that time and helped me and a great part of the community go easily through Baghdad on our way on people's way of leaving the area through Jordan. So you get hardships at a different time.
Of course. Now, in Kuwait, I mean, one of the things you mentioned, that there were two types of people. One who were coming forward to volunteer to help, and the others were just hiding and just wanted to be. And they were, some of them actually had a lot of money, but they were the ones who were hiding. Well, you share some of that with us because I think a lot of people would recognize that.
Well, that's when you see the let's say the background of people. Some people who are used to helping out in the community, etc., they see straight away, they see their own problems as well as they actually see other people's problems. People like that usually have a self-confidence that I will survive, and I know how to survive, but maybe the others don't. There were people, we had, all of Kuwait was left with a lot of young girls who were, from school girls to young secretaries and girls working there. And we had no police, we had no army, so you were thinking of their protection. There were a lot of old people. Hospitals, etc., were not easily available. These are the people that we want to first see protect and also evacuate, for instance. So we had that, but as I said, we had several problems with different people who do become selfish and who actually fought with us to try and be the first ones to be evacuated where we had other people who were sick. So you have both sides in life, and I think that will happen everywhere. But yes, this happened, and you are certainly confronted with that in times like that.
Moving towards your professional journey, you were at university doing your PhD, you were writing a thesis, and suddenly you were catapulted into an unfortunate situation with your father that you had to come down and basically enter the business. Could you just share a little bit of that so that we can start with your professional journey?
Well, it started with my decision never to come back into the family business. So that was my conviction at a young age, and I said, I wanted to work for an international organization. I had it all prepared, with my PhD for that. Everything was going well, and then my father suddenly passed away at the young age of 59. And I came back basically to complete a lot of legal work, etc., which just carried on for a long time. And I then eventually had to give up the hope of, or decided to give up the PhD for me, as I imagine, the uninteresting business life that I would have to face over here for the next I don't know how many years. Now it's of course 43 years later, I'm still sitting there, still hoping one day to go back and finish my PhD.
I'm sure. But you're not PhD in life, so you probably should get on.
But life has not been that dreary and boring in the last 43 years.
Now, what was the business model that, and we spoke about that with the community service. Initially you were recognized as retailers, but you started in retail and then now 2/3 of your business is in distribution. Could you just tell us about how that change has happened? Because adapting to change is one of your core elements in your success.
Well, the history of our business is that my grandfather had a department. He came over from India in 1918, 1919, at the end of the First World War, when the area that we call Iraq and Syria and all those areas were part of the Ottoman Empire, which was lost in the First World War. And Iraq, Palestine, and Jordan, were three countries that were created, including Syria and Lebanon, which went into French administration, but these other three were under British administration. But that British administration was out of India about 10 years. And so for most people, it looked like it was an extension of India. So people like my grandfather, who then with his brother and a few other friends, came to visit and just take a look and see what is this new area that they could easily travel to. When they came over here, my grandfather found that there would be big business opportunities because of the sea trade, which was there between India and which would, the development of Iraq would actually be through the only port of Basra. So that's where it's at. Which business actually then grew from a small business that they started into a department store. When more oil was needed in the world, and the British then wanted to exploit the oil in Kuwait, the political agent, newly appointed political agent in Kuwait, who used to be in Basra before, Colonel Dixon, asked my grandfather, told him that, look, we'll have for this oil industry, now this period was desert, basically, we'll have for this oil industry, we'll have a lot of British and Americans coming over to set up this whole oil industry. They will need goods and services, the type that you are offering in Basra. So could you please open a store and say, to do a service, to do this type of service. This is how that expansion started. That expansion then became a blueprint. Wherever oil was found in the Gulf, then we were asked either by the British administration or by the ruling family, like here in Dubai, the Sheikh Jashanmal requested. Then we became the first store. But as the towns expanded, with the ease and prosperity and expansion that happened here, then of course more houses came up, more stores came up. But we had a lot of the products which were needed or which the stores needed. Therefore we got into the distribution business. So many of the things, products that we used to basically sell in our department store became distribution products for the city. So this is how, as the cities grew, the distribution became bigger.
So how did you resist the temptation at that point in time to diversify into other things? Because I'm sure the temptation was there, you could do something else, you could, and you remain very focused in your business sector, and that's an amazing discipline, which a lot of companies don't have. How did you...
Well, the grass is always greener on the other side. You know, every business is difficult to run. Even your own business that you know since 30 years is still difficult because it always changes to something new. And the temptation is often there, my God, this seems so difficult, but what he's doing seems very easy. And he's making a lot of money through it. You know, but we had this thing from the start. We were told by our parents, stick to it, do it properly, do a better job, and give it and expand and develop it as is required by place. Be a specialist in one thing rather than being trying to be a jack of all trades. And the main thing of that was that, again, coming down to it, everybody has this, and everybody has their specialty. You do it well, rather than trying to do it. And again, the main thing always was that money or more money is not the fact. You have to have a business that you do well. You have to be able to look after your family well. You've got to be able to expand. You've got to try and do better. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that you have to be doing whatever anybody else might do before maybe the second one does it.
Yeah. I was fascinated when you mentioned in 1972-73, I think it was, in Bahrain. The whole family got together and they had what we call a retreat. And all the brothers in the family just came together. And basically you threw the key away and said, we have to find a solution of how this family is going to administer itself and work itself. And 2-3 days later you came out with a solution. And that has been the basis of your success of the next generation. Can you share some of that? Because for family offices, this is an amazing blueprint.
See, when my grandfather was running the business, he was the sole proprietor and the team of it all, you know. So. And his first son, my father, had joined him fairly early. There was an 8-year difference between my father and the next brother. They joined him fairly early, and so it happened in the business for a long time. And when my grandfather died, everybody still took it as a normal thing that my father still ran it like a patriarch. When he died in 1972, and when I just joined the business, that was in 1973, when we all got together and we said, now how does the business go on from here? And that's when we said that to try and get away from the patriarchal system, because I, as a cousin of mine and my cousin Barrett and I had joined the business, and we were the third generation. And then it became as to how does one start paying people, who gets what, etc. So we said that we've got to change the system before any problems, jealousies, etc. So my grandfather had five sons. They're all there in that one picture, all the 5 at the back. And so we decided to split the company into 5 different parts. So each brother got 20% of the shares. One of the brothers was in Canada. He never intended to be in the business. He said, I don't want to leave it. So his share was bought from him. And the other 4 brothers became 25% shareholders each. My father was not that big. So each of the families had 25%. Since then, we've had this that of course, shareholdings have changed, buying, selling, we have different partners, and we have a holding company now. But the same principle has gone on, is that it's a shareholding company between the family. And so the company produces its money, produces its profits, and dividends are paid according to the shares to all people. What they do with their money is up to them. So it is, you avoid the jealousy of what is one person taking and what is he doing with some of the money, what is the other person doing. It's not that. The main part of the money, the money part of the shares, the money of the company, the capital, is in the company. It's decided by the family. It's good. What dividends, etc., the board that we have. That's good. How much dividends to be paid, how much profits to be retained. And those profits, whether retained or paid out, is kept in the shares as is.
So effectively you had a corporate governance structure which was there, which you recognized very, very early, independent boards and things like that.
But the first step was, for instance, that so as to again avoid jealousies, etc. We basically had a policy that when running the company, you'll have a sort of board. You make the decisions together with the family members. But the person who runs the company, the CEO, would not be a person of the family. And general management basically should be professionals and not people of the family. Family are owners. Family members, younger family members are encouraged and are free to work in the company just like anybody else in whatever position they can come in and have to climb their way out. They've got the rules and regulations like everybody else in the company. Basically, the way we basically see that they can come up to a certain stage of management, after which, if anything, they go on board levels, but not that in the top decision-making positions. That we say have to be professionals who see totally as the job.
It's an amazing foresight that the family had 43 years ago.
And we had without consultants.
Without consultants. Who's a consultant in this audience? The other one I wanted to just share and start engaging the audience into this discussion, and how many people here have a small or medium-sized business? So there's a fair segment of people here. What has the Jashanmal Group done in terms of potentially working with and supporting the SME industry in this region?
As such, the SME industry, not as much, directly. But where we have is that we have family members who don't want to either trudge through the ranks in the company or who, after getting to a certain level, decide that they want to do their own particular business, which has got nothing to do with our business in most cases, that they are encouraged, or they are helped, either through any personal or through a family office that we have. I must say we haven't had too many people starting, but the idea is that if, now as we have more people from the younger generations coming up, and I'm sure more as they grow up now, they will want to start, many will want to start their own businesses or do another job, whatever, in the field that they like. So we want to be in the position to actually encourage them. On the other hand, I feel, I wish I was at that age because, it is great fun to start a business.
What would you have done?
Not what would I have done.
I mean, what would you have done in terms of what business would you have done? Would you have created an like sport? Would you, run a football?
I don't want to think about it because if I think about it, I might leave. No, but what I'm saying is that I know the excitement from the time that, like I said, in Kuwait, business was destroyed completely. When Kuwait was liberated, I remember my uncles all telling me, listen, now I have to go back to Kuwait. We have business again. It was all over. Why don't you stay in one of the other places? Now the business is all destroyed. Nothing left. I said, no, I want to go back and I want to reestablish it. So I remember going back there in April of 1991. We had this black cloud with those oil fires burning still in Kuwait. We lived in total darkness 24 hours a day. No police, no security, no electricity. Those things have all been destroyed. And I said, really, we're going to start this? And he said, but the thing was that, look, we had an established good business over here. People will be coming back. We will have to come back. So I said, really? And so there was a determination. So I started in April, we knew we were going back. Next month, I had 4 people of our originals who came back. 1 month later, there were 9 of us, you know, and so it grew. It took us 6 years to come back to the same level of what we were in 1990. Of course, it's grown since then, but that was the achievement. And that, I think, was actually developing an SME there. You know, and that, I think, is the encouragement. If anybody really likes to do it, we try to encourage people. People come. A lot of our employees or past employees come to visit with their children. They come to visit with their children. The biggest enjoyment that one gets is actually encouraging them. Many of them come and they say that they want to start this and this, what do you think? And to encourage them. And I think it's a great thing if people want to do it. Because first of all, it shows that they want to venture. Secondly, that they have the confidence. Third, if you have the confidence, you say, okay, I will start this, but I want to do this. And if it doesn't succeed, so I have the confidence, I'll do something else. You know?
Is that your advice to entrepreneurs in your country?
Totally. I think that's people should. That is your business. And you don't have to. There's a wrong perception of people that, oh, look at the businesses today, some of them are so big, the corporations, etc. How can I ever compete against that? Small businesses do so. Small businesses grow into big ones. Some businesses want to stay small because they like to do that way. Some people specialize in starting small businesses, selling them to other people, and then get back again to the excitement of small businesses.
One of the reports that I heard recently, almost recently, the last 2 or 3 years almost, is that the single largest problem in the Arab world that is bubbling away is unemployment. And the single biggest solution is to create small businesses and opportunities around. You talk about community service and so on. What advice or what action have you taken to actually address some of that problem? Because you are living in this community and you're doing things in it.
Well, you're right. I personally haven't done it, but I certainly like to encourage anybody who wants to do it. But I think it's very, very important in this area. Because every culture eventually has to produce thinking and produce activity out of its own character. It hurts sometimes to see in this area where we are, which is where you have educated people, a lot of educated people locally, lots of financing locally, lots of assets which back these up, etc. And I think they should be encouraged as much as possible to venture, because out of them and with the help of others, I'm sure, it is things which will come out of here, which will have the character of the culture, and therefore, and even probably be appreciated also elsewhere. So I think it's a very good thing to be encouraged. I think we should. Actually, I was just talking to somebody who's in this field. And I was saying, please, I would like to see how we can get involved. Because I think it is necessary for each area, each country, each developing country, or these are developed countries, but in some things not. I think each country should be encouraged in this one.
Now, we've looked at the early part of your life, we've looked at a little bit of your professional journey and the family office environment. What I'd like to do is to actually, please take it, is to actually go in the audience and perhaps ask some initial questions so that we can start engaging before we look at Tony as a human being in his own very personal capacity. So, are there any sort of early questions at this moment? Can we have mics, please? Any questions? Mr. Jashanmal, would you like to share your experience perhaps from
I run a small cargo company over here. In fact, I remember meeting Tony in 1989, there was the immigration, right? Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. I was from the Iranian side. Okay, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, and I remember a lot of people coming in from Kuwait. They had one border, which was the Iraq-Jordanian border, to get out of Kuwait. I remember meeting Tony, and he had a lot of stuff, and I think probably none of them had the passports, and we at the Indian Embassy in Baghdad, we were issuing our passes. And we were helping all the Indian community.
So how would you describe Tony at that point in time? Young, aggressive?
Very aggressive, definitely, yes. Okay,
adventurous?
Very adventurous. I remember meeting him with one more lady from this country called Nina Batra. They both were here. In fact, what they did was they stationed themselves in Baghdad for quite a few days, and someone from Kuwait was organizing people to come out to Baghdad, then their own journey to Jordan. It was really a great time, and we were quite happy to have people from Kuwait, not only the Indians, the other nationalities also were able to help them.
Thank you very much. I wanted to understand Tony's leadership style from people who have worked with you, so with your permission, if you could indulge us. What do you think about your cousin's management style?
Nephew.
Well, I can only say one thing. I in the family was the most spoiled child. Because his father and my elder brother, one was in Bahrain and one was in Kuwait. I do not know how, but each one of them shuttled me from one place. You take care of him. The other one sent me back. You take care of him. From that, suddenly I realized that there was a young man, this man. I never realized that this youngster is going to be the man who is actually going to teach me what is business. This is a fact of life. Suddenly, there was big problems in this area, and he comes and sorts this out in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I remember him and me going regularly, driving from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, sitting with the bankers, working it out to see how these problems can be solved. Because I, as I said, I was a spoiled child. I loved dancing. I loved going for parties. And I will tell you, yes, okay, fine. The question is that these things brought in a lot of principles. But learning from a youngster, the other day, only yesterday or the day before, I was with him. I said, look, Tony, I've seen you with me for all these years. I have one request. You better look after me till I'm alive. Once I'm gone, you do what you do. So the principle really I have in my life. The other day in Abu Dhabi, we were sitting in the Majlis of Sheikh Nahyan and Mubarak. We were sitting there. And somebody asked me, what is your life now in this life? What do you think of these principles and things? I said, look, I only know two things which from Jashanmal is concerned. One is the life which is reality. The other one is something that you offer services and you become good at doing things for the others. So I said, what? In this life I have no idea, but I only know one thing. That people ask me, which country do you come from? And what is your nationality? I said, the name of the country, really I don't know. But I know on this earth I'm a guest and I'll go back to the same country that I come from. But as far as my nationality is concerned, I know I'm a human being. I'm not a plant, I'm not an animal. I'm a human being, that's my nationality. But being a businessman, I requested God, please, give me a return ticket so that I don't have to pay back.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Narayan, I'm put you on the spot. What is it like? What is it like to be working for your dad? Does he give you a hard time? Or do you get away with a lot of stuff?
So like my father, I originally had no desire to join the family business. In fact, I was also pursuing a very, very clear path. And about 5 years after I had started in a different career path, he approached me. I don't know if he was taking pity on my suffering at that time or not, but he basically made me an offer and said, look, if you're interested in joining the business, now is the time to do it. Very few family members in the business. It's going to be challenging and difficult for family members to join the business in the future. Think about it. I thought about it. It took about a year to make up my mind, and then joined the business. This was in 2004. And we set it up, as my dad indicated. I went in knowing that there was a ceiling to which I would reach in the business if I decided to stay in the business. And we also set it up so that in no circumstances would I be reporting directly to him, and I still don't report directly to him today. We felt, we know from experience that that's the best way to avoid conflict, and it's the best way to keep family life and business life separate. And that's the way we set it up today. We talk a lot about business, both when we're at work and when we're outside of work, but we set it up, and I think this is generally, if a company is able to set it up this way, if a family business is able to set it up this way, it's good to separate that. It's good not to have relatives reporting directly to each other.
Great, thank you. Yes, please.
One thing which Tony mentioned is Saddam invasion of Kuwait. This is I learned from my father, the positive thinking. Somebody asked me, Mohan, it's true that everything was wrong? Everything was taken? I said, no, nothing was wrong. All we did was, when they came in, we announced a general sale. And in that one, we announced that it's 100% discount. And believe me, everything was sold out.
Yes, anybody else? Do you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
I beg your pardon, sorry.
So, Tony, I want to understand.
I do have my turn.
Hi, it's Tony. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. I want to understand, so for the Jashanmal Group, what are the growth sectors for you as you move forward in the next 5 years? Where do you see the growth being in the Jashanmal Group in your retail business as one question, in your wholesale business, especially in wholesale, the margins keep decreasing. And how do you look at this region overall as one to do business in the areas that you're active, i.e. retail and wholesale, especially given there's so much turmoil in the region and all of these various things. How do you see business for your group in the Middle East region in the next 5 years, especially given all the turmoil that we hear
about? We've seen the turmoil, not only now, we've seen turmoils all through. You still see people spending money. As long as you earn money, you spend it. People sometimes save for a short time, but as they say, money in your pocket burns a hole. You want to take it out and spend it after some time. But apart from that, the countries here are still growing. The populations are growing. And as long as the oil business is here, as long as there's quite a bit of diversification still going on, and we hope that more businesses will keep on growing here. Capital for setting up those businesses, whether it is from the government side or from the local company side, seems to be there. So I don't see, as a matter of fact, people do have money, and the countries here have money, and they don't see where else they can spend it easily these days. The but commercial, legal, etc., are difficult in many countries. It's not easy anywhere. And I don't see many of the people who are business people over here leaving or running away or investing somewhere else. As a matter of fact, I think in the last 8 or 10 years, it has shown that many people who worked here, especially the ones who were from emerging countries, what has shown actually is that many of them look forward to the development that was happening there. They thought it would be a good bonanza for them. A lot of people did invest in many of those countries. But they found that it's not so easy to work in. There was some research done a few days ago for non-resident Indians from New Zealand up to the United States. And people have actually said in general that they thought that those countries were booming, their own countries were booming. They actually went and invested. And most of them have not really gained from that. The consensus more is that wherever you are, you probably know that place best. Keep investing there. If you are worried about it, keep investing, maybe a little less, whatever. But concentrate where you are and do that as well as you can. And the country over here at the moment still seem very lucrative for most people. So I will see people, and I will see ourselves, also saying that because there are problems over here or there's turmoil in the area, that we would now be looking desperately for something in Europe or America or elsewhere. Our basic business is here, our basic knowledge is here, we intend to carry on here in the best way we can, in the fields which we are in. Because we still find, when we are planning these days, we still find so many thoughts and opportunities that we can still do with them. So that's from our side.
One more quick question, then we'll...
Problems here because of payment systems, etc. So it's not taking off as fast. The towns are still small, so people don't. It's easier to do or e-commerce flourishes when people are far away from markets, etc. We see it happening here, we see it growing here, and we are making our own. And I think most companies are looking to see how they can also attach to it. The other part of e-commerce is that not every e-commerce has been very, very successful for everybody. So people are very careful. We do it step by step. But what we find, especially for our own businesses here, that although there is some e-commerce, but still because of the proximity to the market, being to where people are staying, and the entertainment that people still seem to get out of their purchases, or go shopping, we find that it's still not that big a factor over here at the moment. But we're all prepared for it, we're all developing our models along with the policy itself.
Thank you. Tony, how do you describe your leadership style? Are you collaborative? Are you a dictator? How do you do that? How would you describe it?
I've got a couple of senior managers and CEOs over there. They should be able to tell. Yeah, so they're
almost 18 years. And his style of management is very simple. He is approachable. First point. Second, that means I don't have to hesitate what time, when, where should I ask for an appointment, should I look for it. None of it. He is switched on 24/7. I can just approach it. Point number 2 is very down to earth. I just, when we are on first name terms, we speak, we have respect of course, but he is approachable, he is down to earth. These are the 2 main things I can think of. Third thing is that he is hands-on. He has the experience of retail, distribution, he's traveled the world. I don't have to explain to him nothing. So these are the three main qualities I think I can take his experience from, and I can discuss anything I want at any time. That's it.
Thank you, John. Tony, if I applied for a job with you, what are the 2 or 3 critical attributes and competencies I should be looking for from me as a leader, or from anybody who's applying for you? What are the leadership attributes that really resonates with you?
Usually likes to see the same qualities or the same way that they function. So the same thing, if the person I think, first of all, he has to be knowledgeable, he has to have experience, etc. and so forth. But next is again his approachability, I assess as to how it would be with his staff. And you've seen this is what really happens when people do come. You get sometimes very experienced, very good people, but then you say it won't fit in our style.
So it's a cultural issue.
It's a cultural issue.
Yes.
That's the way we've always had it. I don't know if it happened because of the situation as they were, but let's not forget, we are a family and a business that started in each of the places in difficult conditions. In each place where we started, at the time when we started. So each one of our individual companies, which now are one group, but in each of these different countries, was at the time when these companies were just all starting. All of them. I've lived Kuwait, Bahrain, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all of them. And in each one, I know each one of them, and I've lived in them from the time when there was no electricity, there was no running water, and there was no air conditioning, and nothing. And there were no roads, and we had Land Rovers and Jeeps that we traveled. So when you start to get people who come to work for you, first of all, they're away from home. They're not going to at the start. They're going to bring families. There were no schools. There were nothing. So you're their employer. They become your family. So you have to look after them all the way, and they become part of you. Now, if you have that, you're basically 24 hours with them. Or you have to think of the 24 hours, and they become family. So it was that you had this family type of relationship with them. Now, maybe it started this way. Maybe it's not the character of the persons themselves, but because of this situation, then it happens. And it can't suddenly, at a certain time after several years, then change the style. Right?
You put a huge premium on loyalty, as I understand it, and people remaining loyal to you, to the company, and to the environment that you're in. How do you, in the changing times and circumstances that we have here now, do you still find that your team is loyal and you're finding good talent coming into it?
We find we have talent come. That we have no problem. But I think maybe it's the family, the familial way of running the company. I think maybe that's there. But I have not seen a drop in loyalty. We have people that have been with us unless they have to, for some reason or the other, go back to their home country or something of that sort. We don't seem to have very much people. And okay, it was easy in the olden days that way, but it seems the same now. And I feel, we feel good about this. That then it's not, therefore, it's not only a matter of how much a person gets, how much money. It's not the pay, it's the whole atmosphere that there is. We have, wherever we are in all our countries, we have actually a very, very happy with that. We have a very, very easy atmosphere between people, and it's a fairly jovial atmosphere. And we try to encourage it, we try to even here, try to have, let people feel more at home, have a lot of social activities in the company. It becomes very difficult in the company because it's different sizes, but you still try to do all that to make it feel like a family. Some people say it's not a modern way of running the company, but that's their problem.
But just before we do that, what are the happiest moments in your life? What are can you remember 2 or 3 moments in your life where you were genuinely happy, and how did that make you feel? I just wanted to get that emotion.
The happy moments are when you actually see something. And, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know, it's been with me. I am basically a happy person, so I have no problem for looking for happiness for myself. It really pleases me when other people are happy. So it really pleases me when I see family members happy, when I see staff members happy, when I see friends happy, and basically that's basically it. And I'm happy to see these countries grow here. I'm happy to see people doing well here. I think it takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of the atmosphere. I think the Gulf countries themselves, the philosophy of the people here, and is actually, again, in some way or the other, it's a familial thing. I think people genuinely like to see everybody content and happy.
At the pinnacle of your life, and we will move forward from that. Let's just assume at this point in time you are, and there's an inflection point which will take you to the next stage of your life. If you were to write a book, do you like writing? Because obviously you're doing a PhD and stuff, so you have that intellectual desire to study. Would you ever write a book?
Yes, sir.
What would that be called?
What would it be called?
Yes. What would be the title of the book? What would it be about?
I think the thing is that if I talk about it, if I write something, unfortunately, I don't have a sense of humor to make it something very light. So it becomes something a little more serious. But the thing which I do want to write about is basically the family history, right? Because there's lots of adventures in each of these places, in each of these countries. But I'd like to write it as, at the same time, because of from where we've been in each of these countries, actually from the start, the development of each of these countries to where we are today. So to probably write something about the economic development of the area, but seen through the eyes of our family.
Interesting. Because that was actually my next question was, perhaps if it's not a book, it could be a movie. And actually, in 5-6 years' time, you will have your 100th anniversary, good time to actually have a movie. Is that something that you're speculating in your head?
No, not yet. But maybe it could work because my son studied film.
Right.
And I remember when he wanted to make his first movie, and he came to me and he said, "I'll be such and such if you want." I said, "I'm not financing any movie." I guided him to a couple of people who had been, but I said, "I don't want to get involved in it." But that was when he was much younger. Eventually, when it comes to 100 years, maybe we'll give him the budget.
Don't forget that about that, right? This is your opportunity. Because I think like you said, the adventures from 1919 to 35, and following the oil industry all the way through, and in the 30s and the 40s, there was Basra, there was Karachi, and there was Aden. There was nothing really nothing else in between. And so historically, there would be very interesting perspectives.
In those days, there was none of the places that had a port. So everything was by sea, but when you stopped at sea, you still had to come in by another boat. Basra was the only place which had a port, so the ships could go in. But can you imagine, even 1955, coming here the first time when I came here, I had to land in Sharjah. There was no airport in Dubai. There was there's the British Army, the Air Force base in Sharjah. So we landed there and then had to come through the desert to Dubai.
It was interesting you said that when Sheikh Rashid offered you some land where you would be setting that up.
Yes.
You decided to do it on their side rather than Dubai. What was your thinking behind that?
Well, he said, where do you want it? So my uncle and my brother came over here. So Sheikh Rashid said, where would you like it? And he said, there and there, which was that, and the shop there. So he said, well, why? The whole life at that time was in Dubai. So my husband said, yeah, I've come in by plane. And if you want to develop Dubai, the people who will be coming down will be coming by plane. And planes on lands in Sharjah. So they're only coming from that side. And don't forget, in those times there were no bridges, no tunnels, nothing. So but the bad part about staying on that side was that's really all the activity was on this side. And it was the British who were the governing body here. And they used to have their parties night. Everybody had to dress up properly, tuxedos, and go to them. Now in those days we had no electricity. So we were on the Dera side. We walked down to the creek. No electricity. Now, the life being on the Dubai side, all the boats, it was the Zabras, are not motorized like now. They used to be oars. And so they were all parked on the other side. So I stood there in the sand with your tuxedo on. And you shouted to the other side of the creek. You shouted, Abra, Abra,